Hi, it's Craig, WJ6F. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the Retevis RA89 2-meter 440 radio, and we'll get to it right after this. The items you get in the box, you get the manual, the cradle for charging. You can also charge directly to the battery using the USB plug. Belt clip, wrist strap, programming cable, antenna, 2500 milliamp hour battery, and the radio. The manual is not too badly written. There's a couple of grammatical errors, but they're not anything to get worked up about. Only complaint I had is this print is a wee bit small for my aging eyeballs. They do give you a good description on what everything in the display means. They tell you how the menu features are, show you some additional keypad functions, go further into the menu to show you exactly what everything looks like on the screen and what it does and how to get into those. They give you the usual CTCSS and DCS codes. Show you some programming options with the programming software, which we'll get into later. And some of the parameters of the radio. Okay, we're going to take a quick tour around this radio. You have the two side buttons, which I believe are programmable. Push to talk. Flashlight. Power volume control knob. And one of the things I really like about this radio, the way you mount the antenna. You no longer have to worry about the pin breaking inside because it's a male. This is set up like a lot of the Yaesu radios are. You have the display screen, you have your 10 key. This gets you into the menu, switching your bands from A to B, up and down arrows. The pound button down here, you push that quickly to get from VFO to memory and back. And then on the side, I took the cover off. You have your K connector for programming cables, microphones, headsets. The back, you have this cover right here. This is where you'll put in the USB-C. And a lot of people don't like these kind of batteries where you have to try and pry it. This one has a little lever. You just push it and it comes open. At the time of filming this video, I couldn't find anywhere on Amazon where this radio was being sold. It is currently going for $65.99 on the Retevis website. Some of the features it has, they say it's IP68 waterproof, high power. It has a noise reduction feature, 2500 milliamp hour battery, Type-C charging, which is always nice. Here's where they talk about this intelligent noise reduction. They also say that it's easy to pair with this radio. If you have another one, when you're in VFO mode, just long press the AB button, which is on the top right of the keypad, and you'll be able to set up some frequencies from another radio. Now they say there may be subtle differences between the transmitting frequency and the actually scanned frequency due to technology, but can communicate. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I guess it means sometimes you're not getting exactly what you thought you were. Has the dual standby, FM radio, scramble encryption, which we do not do in the US. They say it can be supported by Chirp, but not at this time. I looked, and RA85 is the only, or at least the last entered RA number. There is no RA89 on Chirp as of yet. The US version for transmitting, it's the usual 144 to 148, and on 70 centimeters, 420 to 450 megahertz. They say it can do 10 watts, which we'll check out in a few. Medium power is 5 watts and low is 1 watt. Again, the usual items it comes with. And more of the same features. If you've ever used Baofeng, you're probably pretty familiar with this kind of menu. Press the F to take you into menu. And you see menu, starts out with scan, goes to priority transmit, then you have a Vox setting, your power level, which will give you medium, high, low, your squelch, then you have your dual weight. This is for the LED, the screen if you want it on or how many seconds you want it on. This is how bright you want it. Beep on or off, I've obviously chosen off. This is the preset channel selection. And see there, it kicks you out if you're kind of delay a little. Timeout timer. This is the busy channel lockout. You have busy channel lockout. More of the Vox settings. Kind of wish those would have been all grouped together. Roger beep on or off. Receive saver. Scan modes. You have your auto keypad lock. The voice if you want it talking to you. Power on display. Your volts for the battery. This is your offset, depending if you're setting it up for 2 meters or 440. And then you start getting into the DCS and CTCSS, and these are for receive, and then you have the transmit ones. This is your shift direction, your step, how many you want. I'll go to 2.5. And then wide, narrow. Here you can search for the CTCSS code that might be in use from a specific repeater. Same with the DCS codes. Another lock. This is your working mode setting. If you want dual watch. And here's where you can reset. You can either do all, the full, or just your VFO. And then it shows you the version of the firmware you have and your receive noise cancellation. Then it takes you back to the beginning. To exit, just hit the AB. Okay, I'm going to take this radio about a mile or so away from the house and we'll see how it works. Okay, we're at our usual area to test out radios. We're about a mile away from the house. It's going to be going through a whole lot of stucco and structures. Testing 1 2 3 4 WJ6F testing. Testing 1 2 3 4 WJ6F testing. Oh, it works rather well. Okay, we'll start out with the 2 meters on low. And we're getting the 1.29, a little more than what they said you'd get. Let's see what medium has to offer. They said you'd get 5, but we're getting 4.13, not a huge difference there. And for high on 2 meters, a little less than 1 watt. Not too bad. It's not going to make a huge difference between 9 and 10 watts. I find that satisfactory. No problems there. Let's see what 440 has to offer. Almost 2 watts. Pretty good. Medium. Double check that. Yep. Not too bad. Again, it's supposed to be 5, but 4.2 to 5 is not going to make a big difference at all. On high power, and we're getting just shy of 7 watts. That's not very good. Will it make a big difference in how far you're transmitting? Probably not. 70 centimeters tends to usually be less power than 2 meters. I'm going to be testing the harmonics on this radio, make sure that it's on par with what the FCC requires. I have the radio set to 146.520, and I'll be using the Tiny SA Ultra. The radio is set to low power, so I don't fry the Tiny SA. And everything looks to be in compliance. There's no issues on 2 meters with this. I actually really like this radio. It's supposed to be 10 watts, but the difference between 9 watts and 10 watts, not a big difference on 2 meters. The 6 watts on 440, not as good, but I can live with it. I like that this has 200 channels versus the Baofangs with 127. It seems sturdy. It's got the IP68 rating, which is always a good one. I love the fact that it's chargeable through either USB or you can use the same USB-C cable with a cradle. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe and don't forget to click on the bell so you'll be notified each time I upload a video. If you'd like to help support the channel, there's a Patreon link in the description area. And while you're here, why don't you check out one of these other videos, and thanks again for watching.